Hey! uh, Sorry about the floor. They're a little squeaky. Anyways, I have to tell you guys. Granted, you already know if you read the title, but it's true. I have finally played Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And it was fun. I will say, bear with me as I try to figure out lighting issues and stuff. If I go like that, there's no glare. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'm going to do a little finagling. I just have to have this there, but that's not going to work. Anyways, just deal with the glare. It's fine. That's not important. What is important is that I, the bearded otaku, have finally played Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and I had fun. And I wanted to talk about this earlier, but if you can tell, if you haven't seen my last video, I moved, and it took a while for me to set up almost everything in my apartment to be comfortable enough to start talking again. And then when I started playing, it was right around the time that I started moving, so I didn't really have time to communicate that I was playing it. Sorry, burpees. So I wanted to just do this video to explain my experiences with Pathfinder 2nd Edition and how I enjoy it. There is obviously going to be points in which I'm going to be like a little bit confused on, but as a whole I enjoyed it, and the other people at the table enjoyed it. We will probably be continuing on a little bit here and there. Granted, we are going to be we're still playing our vampire campaign, and then we are also going to be starting a new vampire campaign. So we're probably going to be trading off every week to be playing one of the campaigns that we're in. So, yeah. But I wanted to give you how it turned out, how we liked it, and, everything, my thoughts about it now that I've actually, played it and not just read a lot of shit on archives and this and bought the books and been like, okay, I think I understand. But now that I have actually consumed it in the way that most people would, and that means play it, I can give you my thoughts on how it worked. So let's get on to the, sort of, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, how it went. So yeah, let's just say that, how it went. So yeah. Recording in a new room is weird. Anyways, so, wanted to explain how it went and how we, felt about it. One, context-wise, there were only 3 players and the GM, so 4 in total. So, most of the encounters in the beginner's box in which we played was tuned to 4 players instead of 3. But I'll get into the nitty-gritty of how that went for us. I will say I didn't really find any real problems as of, the beginning part. Mostly it was pretty standard. We didn't really do anything too crazy. We didn't get into downtime systems, crafting systems, like exploration, like travel type of deal. We were mostly just in a dungeon for 3 days in game, but like a month or 2 real life. And I wanted to just explain that. So, like I said, the beginner box, but our group was a little bit different in that we didn't pick any of the classes or pre-made characters that were in the beginner box. We decided as a group that it would be better for our learning experience to, make our own characters and play things that we would want to play. Now, that's not saying that any of us couldn't have wanted to play a cleric, a rogue, a fighter, or a wizard. We just wanted to play a class that we're just like, okay, this is really cool. And our players, the players of the group, me included, were we were an interesting party, because we didn't have a magic user, and we didn't have any real true way to heal in combat. So, and we didn't really have a tank. What we decided on as a group was that we were going to play, well, not as a group. We all just picked classes and stuff that were like, we want to play this. And as a result, we played very, very different characters for the most part. And I am going to explain our party. So just imagine this party of 3 running through the dungeon and doing crazy fucking shit. So, first up, out of our 3 players, we had, I'm not going to, I don't know the exact stats and everything, so I'm just going to give you the overview of the different characters and all that. Oh, wow. Wow. We were so crazy. Anyways, I don't know why we didn't choose a magic user or a healer of any sort, but oh fuck. Anyways, first up we had a Leshy, specifically a fruit Leshy that was playing an investigator using the interrogation methodology. So an investigator, for those that don't know, is someone that's really good at, like, it's a Sherlock Holmes type of deal. They are really good at figuring out different things. They're kind of a skill monkey. They're able to do a lot of things outside and inside of combat, but mostly they are based off of what we've so far gone through. They're really good at figuring out and sussing out details. But they're playing a Leshy, which, for those that don't know, they kind of look like this. They're little plant people. And a fruit Leshy is able to grow some fruits on them and hand them to us and heal. For the first 2 days or so, the only way that we could heal in combat without finding a potion was if our fruit Leshy was like, here you go. And they were shaped like a bush that was carved into the likeness of a cat, and as a result, they were named Catberry. They were good. I'm not going to say they were terrible. They definitely did their job. They were pretty good. We enjoyed it. So, on to the other person in our party. We had specifically, I'm pulling up the exact heritage that they had. Where is it? We had a Windweb Gripply that was a Way of the Pistolero gunslinger that they were a very angry criminal frog that was trying to turn their life around and become a writer. And if you, like I said, they were a frog person. So a Gripply looks like this, a frog person. Don't know if you can tell. Let me just turn the brightness down. Maybe that will help. Yeah, they are a frog person. So we had a sentient bush that was Sherlock Holmes, essentially. A gunslinging criminal frogman who insulted you and scared you and then shot you. And then you had my character. By the way, the frogman was named Borg, because why not? Then we had my character, and also gunslinger I don't really need to explain. They shoot guns, and they're really good at shooting guns. That's the end of that. But on to my character. My character was a versatile human. So I got a general feat. General feat. And I was specifically Varisian, because I wanted the arcane tattoo, and so I could get shield, so I could survive a little bit better. And I was a thaumaturge, specifically with the weapon implement. So a thaumaturge, for those that don't know, is a person sort of like, I think the best comparison is like the Geralt of Rivia. You go out, hunt monsters and stuff, but my character I wanted to be like, yeah, he's not like, usually my character's kind of gruff and a little bit of loner. I was like, I want to play an archaeologist that just started to be an adventurer, not because of him wanting to, have the bard sing of his tales or anything, but just because he wanted to explore dungeons and ruins. So he started going in the ruins and he kept on running into monsters, and that's how he got good at it. And the weapon implement is his main sort of one of the main tools of the trade that he uses. Specifically for anyone that wants to know, I used a trigger brand, which is a one-handed weapon, because the thaumaturge is only somewhat restricted to one-handed weapons. But I wanted to have range damage as well as like close-up damage. So the trigger brand works because it's technically one weapon, even though it has two different usage of a firearm and a short sword. So yeah, we were interesting. We are an interesting party. So yeah, out of those three, you will probably notice that none of us were a tank. My character had the highest AC, but that was because I was able to save money by getting the trigger brand free for my class as my weapon implement, and I was able to, spend more money on better armor. Granted, my armor at level 1 was 18, which is pretty good for a level 1 character that isn't really supposed to be the front line, and I could make it 19 with the shield. But we didn't have a tank, and we didn't really have any way to heal except later on when we leveled up to level 2, and the investigator was able to up their medicine skill and get the battle medicine feat. So until then, we didn't really have any way to heal other than treat wounds out of combat, which takes 10 minutes to heal one person at a time. It was one of those situations. So our strategy, after the first combat with rats and one of us went down, our strategy, and us, after sleeping for a day and figuring out, we didn't say anything at the table. We just looked at each other and we're like, we're going to choose violence now. And as a group, we are pretty capable of decimating encounters for the most part, because the investigator can do pretty good damage with their strategic strike that adds an additional die of damage when they use intelligence to attack, which is how they devise a stratagem works. Allows them to use intelligence on an attack roll, and they were able to do some decent damage with their throwing knives and their frying pan. And then our gunslinger, all they really had to do a lot of damage was crit, and they did that a lot because they were doing pretty good amount of damage. And then my thaumaturge as a whole, I only critted once in the entire game that we were playing, and it was against the skeleton, and it one-shotted the skeleton, so pretty good. But yeah, I was able to do somewhat consistent damage, like with the trigger brand doing a d6 of damage, and I had 1 strength. So in total, without the empowered implement, I think is what it's called, that gives you an extra 2 points of damage with a one-handed weapon, as long as your other hand is free or holding another implement or holding esoterica, they gain an extra 2 damage. So on the low end, I was doing 4 points of damage. On the high end, if I rolled max, I was doing 10 points of damage. No, 9 points of damage. I know how to do math. But then you also factor in that I, as a thaumaturge, I was able to strike weaknesses and able to do significant more. Most of the encounters in the beginner's box didn't really have that many creatures that had a specific weaknesses, so I was mostly doing personal antithesis, which was doing about 2 or 3 points of damage. I can't remember at level 1. I think it's 3, but it might be 2 because they don't say whether it rounds up or down, so we were just rounding up. So I was doing an extra 3 points of damage with weaknesses. So I was, even though I wasn't critting, I was at the very least doing consistent damage, which is pretty good. And as a whole, our strategy was to take them down as fast as we can, so that we weren't, we were always going to be in a battle of attrition. The encounters that lasted more than 2 rounds were slowly started to turn from our favor to the enemy's favor, because if we weren't able to take down the enemies within the first round or two, as a group, we don't have a healer in combat until, one of the second to last session, which we leveled up from 1 to 2, before we fought the final boss of the dungeon, and we had problems there. Granted, that was our fault. None of us chose to be a healer. None of us were like, okay, we're gonna pick a cleric or a sorcerer or a oracle or any of the classes that you could pick to heal. We chose violence. And it was fun. So yeah, and as a whole, I did like the exploring in the dungeon. We were able to use a lot of the different skills and different checks. And the combat after, when we first fought the rats, we sort of played it like D&D 5th edition, because at that point we had played vampire, but for the most part, the most amount of fantasy role-playing game we played was D&D 5e. And D&D 5e has the problem of everyone has attacks of opportunity, which means that you don't really want to move or else they attack you. And there are not really that many ways to get around. And most characters can survive in the front line. There are obviously some cases where they're not, but I've seen our sorcerer in our D&D campaign be able to melt different characters and different monsters and stuff. So all in all, I will say that there at the beginning, the first 2 combats that we had, we definitely had we didn't really utilize the three action economy as well as we should have, but as we went through, we learned the rules better, we understood our characters better, and by the end, we're doing pretty well. There was only a few times in which we're like, oh shit. But I will say, explanation wise, for the last encounter of the beginner box. So I'm going to spoil the end of the beginner box. If you don't want to listen to it, you can skip. If you want to play Pathfinder, it's awesome. You can find all the rules online for free with Archives and Nethys. Great website. It's fantastic. Paizo endorses it. But so at the end of the beginner box, we were trying to figure out why these fishes from this fishery were getting taken, and we figured out that it was a group of kobolds feeding a dragon, specifically a baby dragon. And we were like, okay, we need to take care of the dragon. Granted, after we finished the fight and we had our characters had a party the next day and bought some stuff and, just vibed and all that, and we wrapped up the session, the GM looked at us and was like, you didn't have to kill the dragon. You guys, by the time that you finished, killed everything in that dungeon, and there was no one there to feed the baby dragon. It would have starved. And we're just like, they told us to clear it out and deal with the problem. And he's like, true. So, we fought a horned dragon, specifically a young horned dragon, which is sort of like the Pathfinder edition of a green dragon from D&D. But a horned dragon, it wasn't too difficult. Granted, we did, both me and the gunslinger did go down in the fight, but luckily we had leveled up to level 2. And we had our Lord and Savior Catberry to heal us with motherfucking battle medicine. And we did level up to level 2, which meant that we were also rocking our 3 archetypes, because we are playing with 3 archetypes. in it, which makes more sense because for the most part, they don't, depending on the archetypes, it doesn't really change the power level of your characters. But our characters, being that we were running a four-person dungeon with 3 people, the little extra power is fine for us because the GM was like, okay, you steamrolled everything. I'm not gonna like hold back, you know. So we were able to have the our investigator pick up the medic, so to get more healing with battle medicine and treat wounds. And then also our gunslinger took the rogue archetype to be able to get more crits and more sneaking damage. Granted, that's later on. And then I chose the gunslinger, specifically choosing the way of the trigger brand so that later on I can take feats that make it, I can, you know, work around the feat economy type of deal. The entire fight with the Horned Dragon was intense. We moved around the map. We were quite literally like, as soon as it opened up with the breath weapon and I went down, we understood like, oh shit, we need to figure out a better way. So I got healed from being knocked down by battle medicine, and we were optimizing. I also chose as a feat the scroll thaumaturge, because I was like, okay, we need to have some sort of magic, and we picked up the scroll and we just leveled up. So I'm choosing scroll thaumaturge, so later on during any other campaign that we're playing with these characters, I at the very least can cast the scrolls, because that's what that feat does. And I was able to cast Force Barrage on it, doing a good amount of damage. The gunslinger was shooting, trying to intimidate it as best as it could, trying to distract it, trying to do as much as we could to get it down, as well as getting into different positions to flank it when we could. And my weapon implement was doing pretty great, because specifically it has a reaction that I can use while the dragon was trying to take care of the other characters and running past my character. I was able to whoop, slice, and whoop dice as it went by. Granted, I never got a crit, but you know, when I hit once or twice as it was running around, that was more damage. And even if I missed, at the very least I tried. So all in all, I will say that I had a great time. We were really close. If we didn't take it down when we did, we probably would have been down in the next, like, I don't know, couple of rounds, because, you know, I was already out of battle medicine, and so was Borg, our frog, and our Leshy guy was also out of battle medicine. And sure, we had health potions, but the amount of damage it was doing was not going to, you know, make us survive much longer. But at the end of the day, we prevailed, and we had a great fucking time. So, yeah. All in all, we did enjoy it. We are going to be playing, I think, Troubles Under Otari next. I think that's what it's called, or whatever the next section is for whatever we're going to be doing next with these characters, because we are going to continue on with these characters, and we're probably going to, you know, play a little bit more. But our next week, when we're going to be playing, we're going to be making our characters for our vampire campaign. But yeah, all in all, we really enjoyed it. Obviously, I haven't played enough to truly criticize any sort of pain points or anything within the system. For what we played, we enjoyed, and we really liked it. I will say, as of right now, I do enjoy it a lot more than D&D, but I haven't fully played Pathfinder enough to get a good sense of how it works at higher levels, or hell, even slightly higher levels, how certain systems work together, or how we as a group will enjoy it later on. But as of right now, we highly loved it. We would love to continue playing it, and I am so excited for all the other shit that's coming out with, Pathfinder. So, all of that being said, hopefully you enjoyed this rambling video about Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Hopefully you like how my manga is set up, because that took a while. And, I enjoyed it. So, yeah, I'm happy that I finally got to play Pathfinder, and I wasn't just sitting reading archives and this, buying the books that I would never use, and just wondering, when is my party going to play it? But we did it. So, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, think about hitting the subscribe button to see more of this bearded face. If you have played Pathfinder, or you're interested in Pathfinder, put down in the comments what your thoughts are on it, and that would be great. I read the comments. There's not a lot of people subscribed to the channel, so I try to read as many comments as I can. And yeah, if you liked this video, think about hitting the like button, so I know that you want me to make more of this. Whew. Yep. So good. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed. Stay safe out there. Keep cool. It's really hot this summer. Stay inside. Play some video games. Read some awesome manga. Get some friends together to play some TTRPGs and listen to some banger music. That's it. Bye!